Welcome back to Raki Cyber Lab, a Techno channel for placement training. So in today's session, we are going to discuss about Salesforce security. So whatever you do, wherever you go, whatever you do, right, we require a security. Same way here in Sales Cloud, right, we have to maintain a security. So here in this session, we are going to discuss elaborately about the security model. In security model, we are going to discuss about system level security. In the system level security, right, actually security is of two types. One is going to be system level security, the other one is called application level security. So in security model, we have two types of security. One is going to be system level security, the other one is called application level security. So like in this section, we are going to discuss about the system level security. So how we are going to maintain the system, how do we create a user, how we are going to maintain the policy. So what is the trusted IP range, restricted login access, right? How we can restrict the login access, all those stuff we are going to discuss here in our system level security. So when it comes to security, right, only the current users, only whoever is working on the org, right, only those users are available, only those users can able to log in and they can able to work on the org. And we have to maintain their password. So password should contain, so how many days the password can be in live. So then if it is beyond 30 days or if it is beyond 96 days, then automatically the password has to be changed, right? So the password get disabled, right? Or the password get locked, right? So that you have to create a new password. And so within this range only, it is going to be trusted range. Beyond that, it is not a trusted range. So that you can maintain a range, right? IP address. You're going to specify the IP address. And similar way for restricted login access also, right? So now let me get deep into my system level security. Right. So what is data security? Salesforce securing data from unauthorized, unauthenticated user is very important. Data in Salesforce, right, is stored in form of object, fields, and record. So you know that already I told you securing data from unauthorized and for unauthenticated user is very, very important. So everything here is going to be data. We have to maintain data. So data will be stored in the form of an object or a field or a record. So we have to secure the data. We have to design and implement the Salesforce security data model for all the different users and data they need to access. So it is now that we have to, when it comes to org, we have to secure the data, right? And to implement the Salesforce security for the data model for all the different users and the data they need to access, we have 4 different levels of data access in the Salesforce. We have 4 different data access in the Salesforce. So these all 4 different data level, that is 4 different levels of data access comes under application level security. Now let me see what are they, like organization level security or the system level security. That is the first one alone comes under the system level security. The remaining 3 comes under the application level security. Actually, we have 4 different levels of data access in Salesforce. The first one is organization level security or system level security. The second one is object level security. The third one is field level security. And the fourth one is record level security. So we have 4 different types of data access in Salesforce. The first one is called organization level security or the system level security. The remaining 3 goes under application level security. One is object level security, the other one is field level security, the other one is record level security. So in this session, we are going to discuss elaborately only about the system level security. So coming to security model, the security model is being broadly classified into 2 types, as I've already told you. One is going to be system level security, the other one is called application level security. The system level security, how do we do authentication, authorization, social signing, all these things we could maintain with respect to system level security. Whereas application level security, as I told you, we are going to check for the object level. How do we maintain security on the object level? Field level security, and with whom I can able to share it, right? So like record level security, this record can be shared with whom, with other users with which how many users we can able to share it, right? Or only the restricted users can able to access the record. What kind of record access can we have it? Whether read only or read write or whatever it may be, right? So different access level we have it. That we are going to discuss. But now this section we are going to elaborately discuss about system level security. So as we come back to system level security, it is the highest level of security in the Salesforce. We maintain a list of authorized users or to login, password policies, login IP range, limiting login access to certain hours, security, session security, login flaws, network access. So these all comes under system level security. When it comes to system level security, so we tend to, if you are an authorized user, then only you can able to log in. So for which what you have to register yourself, then only you become the authorized user, so that you can able to enter your credentials here by entering the username, password, and then you get into the production environment or the instance, and then you start working on it. So then it comes to password policy. I already told you there is some restriction for each and every application, right? You have a restriction. So password has to be maintained. How many days that you can maintain the password? Even when it comes to bank, right? So that you have to secure your account so that others should not hack your data, your amount, right? So that what happens, so you have to maintain security. So the password will be working for only certain days. Either it can be 32 days or 96 days or 1 or 2 days, something like which they give some particular days, only those days, only till then your password will be working. Automatically the password will be deactivated and you have to recreate the password, right? That is nothing but a password policy. And within the IP range, whatever IP range, only this particular range you can work on this organization, right? You tend to limit by giving the IP ranges. So others cannot able to get into this org, right? So similar limited login access to certain hours, right? Only certain hours, limited login people can access, user can access, right? So like we have session security, login flaws, network access, all those stuff, right? Whereas coming to system level security or authentication, authorization, token sign on, already I told you, right? So the first topic is now let me see how to create a user. So under system level security, I told you that it is going to be how to create a user, password policy, IP range, and then restricted access, right? User access. The first topic is that in that we'll see how to create a user. So for an organization, users are very much important, right? Without users, we cannot do nothing, right? So let me see the moment when we when we get the license and we create the org, right? Or we create the company, right? Then user has to be created, right? So that case, what happens now in this, we are going to discuss about how to create a user, right? So Salesforce administration can perform many users management function like creating and managing users in Salesforce, assigning user license, changing the password, granting permission to access certain data in the Salesforce. So the user can also be a administrator, right? So the administrator will have all the access, right? He is the person who is going to give assign the license to the user, changing the password, granting permission to others to access the certain data. So likewise, the user can also able to manage certain functions here. So he is the person who will be assigned with some other license. So sometimes he will be allowed to change the password. He can give access permission to other users. The user can give access permission to other users to access the certain data in Salesforce org. So for which we require a user, right? Now let me see how to create a user. So to create a new user or multiple user, you have to go to setup home and then go to users, then it will take you to the user page like this. So on the user page, right? So by default, users will be there already. When you create your login credential, you are the user, your detail will be there. Apart from that, system level users will be there, right? But now, in case you want to create new users, what you're going to click on new user button here. So once you click on new user button, so here when creating a new user in Salesforce, it is important to assign the role, right? You have to assign the role, user license, and profile to the new user. So note username must be in the form of email address format and it should be unique, right? It should not be in the form of first name and last name, right? So enter the, then we have to enter the first name, last name, alias, email address. Now we're going to assign the role to the user. What kind of user, whether it's going to Salesforce user, Salesforce platform user, or what kind of user, right? Assign the user, then you have to assign the user license, assign the profile, what kind of profile the user is going to be, whether it's going to be HR manager or CEO, right? What kind of profile here. Then you're going to select, now select generate password and notify user via email. So this has to be enabled. That is, the password will be generated and then notified via user, right? So that the moment you create the user, so the password will be notified, right? So that the mail will be sent to your email ID, whichever you are registered. From there, again, you're going to validate your user and then you're going to generate the password, right? So for this, you're going to enable this. We don't enable this, the user will not be notified, right? And then you're going to click on save button. The verification email will be sent to the email address, and then you have to go open that email and you have to verify your account. After that, you have to enter the security question, and then you have to enter the password, and then you have to enter the security question, and then your password will be generated. Right? Now see here, this is the form, UI form. The moment you click on new user, right, it will take you to this form, UI form here. Here you're going to enter the first name, last name, alias, right? So there is a duplicate name or a short name. So then you're going to enter the email ID, then username. Username should be in the form of, username should be in the form of what? It should be in the form of email ID, right? It should be in this template. Then nickname, right? Alias is something different from nickname, right? And then a title. So wherever you have red color marking, that is called required field. Wherever you have red color marking, that is called required field. Other fields are optional, which is doesn't mark with red colors are optional. Wherever you can see the fields which are marked with red color are required field. The fields which are marked with red color are required field. And similar way here also, see here in this license also, your role, license, profile, all those things have been marked with red color. Mean that is required. So it is mandatory field. You have to must that you have to enter this field. So the remaining fields are optional, is not required. It depends upon the need. You're going to enter this, right? After this, now, in case you want, you can enter the street address, city, state, provinces, zip code, country, then federation ID. So coming to local settings, again, these are all the required fields. Time zone by default will be there. So default time zone will be there. Accordingly, if you want, you can change your time zone, your locally timing, right? That your locally and then language, all those things you can change it. After you change it, right? So that then you're going to save it so that the user gets saved here, right? Now let me get into demo now, right? Now let me get into demo to how to create a user, right? Then we'll come back to how to deactivate the user. Now we'll get into demo. Now let us get into demo how to create a user, how to create a user. So again, what we do, we'll click on, so now I've logged into production environment. How do I log into production environment? By entering login.salesforce.com. By using login.salesforce.com, I'm entering into my production environment. So now I'm in the setup page. Under home, you can see quick find box. On the quick find box, I'm going to type user. So I'm going to type user. Under user menu, you can see the user will be available. The user is available. You're going to click on this user. So when you click on this user, it will take you to the user page here. When you click on to this user, it will take you to the user page. Now I'm going to create a new user. Now see here already Kumar Rakesh is there. Rakesh Kumar, alias name is R Kumar, and username is this, right? DVPFSF@ivalabs.com. DevupSF@ivalabs.com is my username. The username in the form of email ID format, right? And followed with when it has been last logged in. Then what is the role is not being given here, and but this user is active. And what is the profile? So the profile is system administrator. Likewise, the charter expert, there is a system user, right? So it has been automatically created by the Salesforce. And user integration automatically created by the Salesforce. User security, right? That is also being created by the Salesforce. Right? Only thing is this Rakesh Kumar user has been created by me at the time of registering. When I register, automatic user will be created. Right? Whenever I fill the form, based on that, the user will be created here. But now I'm going to create another custom user. In order to create a custom user, what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on new user button. When I click on new user button, user interface will be shown here. As I told you, some of the fields are required field. The fields are marked with red color, right? Red color block. So it is called a required field. So now I'm going to enter some field here, right? I'm going to enter some detail here. Like first name is Abhinav, right? Last name is Kumar, right? Alias name by default comes from there. It is automatically coined. And email address. I'm going to give my own email address. Now automatically the username takes as the email address. But now I'm going to give the name of Abhinav Kumar, A Kumar at iwaylabs.com. That is my username, A Kumar. So at iwaylabs.com, that is my username, right? A nickname, right? Abhi, that is my nickname. So title, in case you want title, right? And company, department, division, all these things you want. If you want, you can give it. Otherwise, you can leave it. Later on, also we can edit. That's not a problem. Now we have to specify the license and role here. Now, for example, I'm going to give Salesforce a license here. Now I'm going to give Salesforce license. And what is the role? Now and then we have to give the profile, right? I have to give the profile. So that what I'll do, I'll give the custom sales profile. I'll give custom sales profile. Now here it is going to be like I'm going to give the sales because a custom sales profile. I'll say VP marketing, right? I'll say VP marketing here, right? So I've given Salesforce license. Actually, how many Salesforce licenses are there? There is 2 licenses. One is assigned for me. The other one is assigned for him, right? Salesforce license have all access. You can have all the access. You can grant access to others. You have access to everything, right? So I'm giving Salesforce license here. So I'm giving, actually there is only 2 licenses. Already one is booked. The another one is also booked. Now after when you create third one, he will not get the Salesforce license. Then you have to use Salesforce platform license, right? So accordingly, his profile will be created, rows will be selected from the pick list. After you do this, scroll down, the remaining things will be by default. In case you don't want any customer email alerts, you can remove this, right? So if you don't want to receive any email alerts, right? Otherwise, what happens? So your inbox will be filled with the email address, right? You can remove this. And then, whereas coming to call center, right? So any call center number you have, you can have it, extension, fax number, mobile number, and by email encoding, by default, it's going to be Unicode UTF-8, right? That by default will be there. And your mail address will be filled here. So then after this, then what you do? You have to change it. Now see here, your time zone has been, by default is America, Los Angeles time zone. America, Los Angeles time zone. Now you have to change it to Indian time zone. So you have to change it to Calcutta, Indian, Asia Pacific, right? GMT. So here we have Indian Standard Time, Asia, Kolkata. I'll select this, and locally it's going to be in English, India. Right, the language is going to be English. Receive approval request email here only if an approver. So these are all the required fields, right? And finally, you can see here, generate a new password, notify the user immediately. So it is enable. If you remove this enable, if you make it disable, the notification will not go to your mail ID. For which mail ID it will go? It will go to this mail ID, raki@gmail.com. It will go to this mail ID, right? So now what I'll do, I have enabled here. After this, I'm going to click on save button. So now if everything is correct, it will create my user. So now a user has been created in the name of Abhinav Kumar, right? His email ID is going to be this, and his username is going to be this, right? And nickname is going to be Abhi, right? And his role is going to be VP Marketing. His user license has been assigned to Salesforce. The profile is going to be Salesforce custom sales profile, right? And followed with he has been set with what else, right? Like locally, time zone, and everything, right? Everything has been set. Now, in case you want to see this again, what you do, under you have to click on user. Either you can go back, you can click on user. Now you can see a new user called Abhinav Kumar has been created. His role is VP Marketing. His username is akumar@iwaylab.com. He's a VP marketing role, and his profile is going to be custom sales profile. His profile is going to be custom sales profile, right? This is how we are going to create a user. This is how we can create a user. This is how we can create a user. So now, as of now, we have learned how to create a user. As of now, we have learned how to create a user, right? So now let me see how to deactivate the user. Now let me see how to deactivate the user. Right? When should we deactivate the user? When the user is no longer available in the system. When the user is no longer available in the system, or he has moved to some other division, or is moved to some other project, right? So that case we try to deactivate the user, right? So deactivate, right? Now it means it is not active. He is not active. The user is not active. So now in the setup, you use the quick find box to go to user. Click edit. Next to the name of the user, you can see you want to deactivate, right? So there is an active button is there, right? You have to you'll enable it, right? In case you want to deactivate, you can say deactivate. Clear the activate checkbox and click save. So there is an active checkbox will be there. That tick mark will be there. If you remove that, so the user will get deactivated. If you can't immediately deactivate an account, right? For example, the user is selected in the custom hierarchy field, you can freeze their account. Right? Like either you can deactivate the account. In case you will not, if you're not able to deactivate the account, you can freeze the account, right? That prevent the user from logging into the organization while you are working on the deactivating them, right? So that particular user cannot able to log into the organization, so that you are making it deactivated, right? So that on the user page in the setup, click the username of the user whose account you want to freeze, click freeze, right? Now again, I'll go back to the demo, right? So I'll come back to the production environment. So suppose in case I want to deactivate, right, the same Abhinav Kumar itself, I'm going to click on edit. Let me click on edit button. It will take you to the user information, right? It will take you to the user interface here. Same Abhinav Kumar's user interface. So here after the first name and last name here, after the profile, you can see there is an active button. If you remove this check mark, right, last you deactivate user, removes them from all delegated groups and sharing the privileges. The following page prompts you to remove this user for any team. And you can still transfer the user record to an active user and view the username under manage user. So what you can do, but still the user will be available. You can transfer all the records to somebody, some other users, but it will be in the deactivated mode. Again, in case you can activate it, right? Now when I click OK, now it will be deactivated mode. Now this user cannot use anything. He cannot able to log in. So now what I'll do, again I'll activate it, right? Now I'm going to activate it here, and then I'm going to click on save. Now he's an active user, right? So either if he's not able to activate, right, not able to deactivate, if you're not able to deactivate, again you go to Abhinav Kumar, right, user here. Again you can go to Abhinav Kumar user. When I click on Abhinav Kumar user, it'll take you to the user detail page here. Abhinav Kumar's user detail page here. Now on the top you can see edit button is there, sharing is there, reset password is there, and freeze button is there, right? So there is difference between deactivating and freezing, right? So when it deactivate the user, the license will come back to the administrator. He will not able to have the license. It is not possible that he can have the license, right? Whereas freezing. So freezing means what? So totally everything will be intact, right? It will be stopped, right? Like when I click on freeze, everything will be freeze so that he cannot able to use anything, but the license will be available with, right? Everything will be freezed, right? So that when you click on this freeze button, what happens? The particular user will be freeze, right? Either way you can do it. So again, tell you for this, what you do, again, you have to go and click on user to deactivate it, click on user, so that when you click on user, all the user details will be shown here. Now, when you click on this particular user called Abhinav Kumar, it take you to the Abhinav Kumar user page here. Right on the top, you have edit button, sharing button, reset password, and freeze. In case we are not able to deactivate it, then what you do, you can click on freeze button and try to freeze the account, right? So that what happens, all the information will be freezed. He will not be able to access anything, right? At the same time, only the license will be available here. When you deactivate, everything will come back, right? This is all about deactivating the user. This is all about deactivating the user. Got it? So this is all about deactivating the user. Now, next one is, next topic we're going to cover about the password policy. Next topic is that we're going to cover about password policy. So now, for all, as I already told you, so when a particular password has been created, it can be for 180 days, right? Or for 96 days, or some other days, right? After that gets, what is that? So that automatically the password will be removed. So that you have to create, again you have to create the password. It will be deactivated. So that you have to create the password. Same way here. So when it comes to Salesforce also, right, you have to change your password. You have to set up the password policy for based on the organization rule. And for which what you do, how do we set up your password policy here? Again, you have to go to Quick Find box and type the password policy and the setup, so that customize the, that is find password policy in the setup, customize the password setting. How long you should pass, how long the password be? Longer is the user better, usually better within the reason. How complex do you want your password? You can require alphabetical, numeric, uppercase, lowercase, or special characters. When you create a password, it should be combination of alpha, numeric, and then uppercase, lowercase, and special characters. All this should be there. And how long you're going to use this password? If it is longer days, it will be better. And with a reason, you have to give the reason, right? And how many days is a password valid? How long it is valid, right? So when that particular day is over, it will not be valid, right? Again, you have to create a new password, becomes invalid. How many times can someone try to log in within the invalid credentials? How many times? So sometimes even when the bank account, right, online banking transaction, when you try to enter the username and password, only 3 options. 3 times they give you to access. That is 3 times you can try. Once the 3rd time is over, 4th time they automatically the account will be locked, right? And again you have to unlock it, right? You have to go to a particular page and then you have to unlock it by giving your details and everything, right? You can unlock it. Otherwise, you have to go to the particular branch and you have to fill the form and request them to unlock it. Either way, you have to do it. Same way here, you can set up everything here for the password. Choose the what do you want, what to do about forget password and lock account, and click save. So you're going to set up by entering all these details, and then finally you're going to click save. So now you go to the Quick Find box and you're going to enter password policies, so that your password policy page will be here, right? Like this. You're going to enter all the details here, and then finally you're going to save it here. Now let me show the demo so that you'll understand. Right, again I'll go back to my production environment. Again I'll go back to my production environment. Under home, I have Quick Find box. In the Quick Find box, I'm going to type password policy. Right? When I type password here, short form. So under security, you can see the password policy link has been there. You're going to click on password policy link. So you can, it will take you to the password policy page here. It will take you to the password policy page here. So there you're going to enter. So you're going to change your details, but now it is a default data. It is with the default entry. Now these are the required field. As I've already told you, these are the required field, right? So now they're asking user password expires in now by default is 90 days. But see here, this is for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 180, 1 year, never expires. Whichever you wanted, you can select. Now let me leave it as it is with the default one, right? Enforce password history. So for example, I'm going to make it as 180 days, right? I'll make it as 180 days, right? And enter the password history here. So for how many times the password can be remembered, right? How many times you can remember? You can try entering the passwords, right? One password remember, 2 password. So at the maximum, how many times? It is 24 password remembers. You have it, but maximum what everybody gives only 3 times. The minimum password length. What is the minimum password length? The minimum password length is 8, right? Maximum you can give 10, 15. Likewise, it depends upon the requirement. You can give it. Password complexity requirement must include alpha and alphanumeric character by default. Otherwise, here must include alphanumeric and special characters. Must include number and uppercase and lowercase. Must include number, uppercase, and lowercase characters. Must include 3 of the following: number, uppercase, lowercase, and special case. Whichever you want, you can select it. Right? Include alphanumeric. By default, go with. Password question requirement cannot contain password. So the password question requirement, that is going to be help, right? So that cases, it should not contain the password itself, right? You have to give some other password. So then after this, now maximum invalid login attempts. How many maximum login attempts can do? Invalid login attempts, only 10. But here we are given password remembrance is only 3 times. 3 password remembrance can be given, not more than that. But login attempts, how many times you can do? Only 10 times you can do. Like log effective period, how much? 15 minutes. But then only 15 minutes the period will be there, right? Beyond that, it will be get logged. Then obscure secret answers for the password reset require a minimum 1 day password lifetime. Allow user to set the password API for self resets. So you can use password APIs also, like can enter all these things, then messages. Forget password and lock account assistant. For that, you can use the message help link to forget password and everything, right? But as of now, we don't have any link here, right? In case you forget password, the automatic link will be sent by the Salesforce. We no need to worry about that. Then alternative home page, in case that is the case, you want to have alternative home page, you can give here, and then you go to click on save button. So that the password entry will be, the password setting will be done here. So that the password setting will be done. So for the password setting, what you do, password policy, you have to go for password policy, you have to go to the setup, home, under home we have quick find box. On the quick find box, you're going to enter password. So the moment you can see the password policy will be displayed here, you're going to click on this link, it will take you to the password policy, and then you can edit it, edit the page, and then you go and edit whatever details you want, you can edit it, and then finally go to save it, by which the password policies will be set according to the company requirement. So according to the company requirements, you're going to change the password policy, you're going to set the password policy rules. Based on that, you're going to coin your password, right? So next topic, we're going to get into trusted IP range. Next topic, we're going to get into trusted IP range. Next topic, we're going to get into trusted IP range. Now let me see what is trusted IP range into an organization. First time you log into Salesforce, the IP address is cached in the browser. When you log in from a different IP address, you will be asked to verify your identity, typically by entering the verification code. You can bypass this step for trusted IP address. Right? First time when you enter the username and password, will ask you to verify, right? So that the whatever. So by when you first time when you log in, ask your country and then ask your phone number. You enter the phone number, a OTP will be sent to your phone number. You have to enter the OTP and then try to log in. Again, you try to log in with the same IP address, so that it becomes a trusted IP address, so that you can bypass it. So it will not ask you the what is that information. You no need to verify it here, because the IP address is cached on your browser. So the same IP address when you try to log in, so it will get bypassed. Suppose when you try to work on some other laptop or some other browser, right? So that what happens? So automatically the IP address will get changed. So that is what you have to do. Again, you have to verify all your details by entering your number, so that for your number, phone number, OTP will come, right? Or else you can use an authenticator app, and then you go to the authenticator app, and then you can have to do the entry, so that you can get into the organization, right? For this, you can bypass. How can bypass? Have to enter some trusted IP range, right? Or else if these things are not there, then in the org I have to go and enter the trusted IP range. Now let me see how to enter the trusted IP range. Right, from the setup, you have to go to quick find box, enter the network access, and select the network access and click on new. Then enter the start and end point of the range of the trusted IP address and click save. Right, you're going to enter the start and end point of the range of the trusted IP address, and then you're going to save. So for this, what you do, you're going to go to the setup page. Under setup page, when you click find box, you're going to enter network access, and then you're going to click on new button, and then you're going to enter the start and end point of the range of the trusted IP address, and then you're going to click on save. Now again, I'll go back to my demo. Again, I'll go to my setup page here. On the setup page, right under the quick find box, I'm going to type network. So network. So when I type net W, you get the access. That is, you get a link called network access. I'll click on network access. It will take you to the trusted IP range. That is network access page here. Right? It takes me to the network access page here. That is called trusted IP range page. When I click on new, When I click on new, it will take you to the trusted IP range edit page here. So here I have to enter the starting IP address. I have to enter the end IP address as of now, because I am using my single system, so that I don't require any starting IP address, ending IP address. But in real time, you have to enter the starting IP address and ending IP address. Say for example, 192.168.101. That is my starting IP address, right? So my starting IP address is going to be 192.168.1.101. That is my starting IP address. Similar, what is my ending IP address? Where is going to end? So 192.168.1. So 501, something like this, right? Or 201. So only these many people are there, and you're going to enter the description, and you're going to click on save, right? By then, what happens? This range. So whoever is coming with this range, then they are going to be trusted IP address. Only these people are allowed to work on this particular org, right? So this when you set up your org, you're going to enter all these details, and then you're going to save it, right? This is how you're going to enter the trusted IP address range. Got it? So now this is how we're going to enter your range, and then you're going to click on save. Now next one is we're going to restrict the login access by IP address using profile. We're going to restrict the login access by IP address using profile. So from setup, again the quick find box, we're going to enter the profile, then select the profile, right? Then select the profile and click the name. That is system address. Click in the login IP ranges. If you don't have enhanced profile interface enabled, scroll down to the login IP range related list, click new, and enter the start and end point of the IP range of trusted IP address, and then click save. So now what happens? Now you have to go to quick find box, and you have to not to log in not to restrict the login access by IP address. You have to go with the using profile. You can do it. So for which what you do, you go to the quick find box, type profile. So the profile will be there. Profile link. You're going to click on profile link, select the profile, and then what is it? Take the profile page. There you have to select the profile, and then click its name here, and then click the login IP address. Click in the login IP address. If you don't have enhanced profile interface, you have enable. Scroll down to the login IP address range selected list. Click new. Enter the start and end point of the IP address range, like how we did like this, and then you're going to click on save. And then you're going to click on save. I'm going to click on save, right? So then now see here, you have to go to the same way here. You'll go to login IP address. You're going to enter the start address, enter the description, and then you're going to click on save here. So this is how we're going to restrict your login IP address. Again, I'll tell you. So this is login restricting your login IP address. So now we'll get into demo, right? So again, so now what we do? Now we have to get into restricted login IP address, right? So you have to enter the profile, then select the profile. So then click on the login IP range, right? Now we'll do here. Now again, we'll go to the production environment, click on home. Right now, you are going to enter profile. When you click on profiles, so now whichever profile you are there, now as of now, you're on the system administrator profile, right? So now you go and click on yes. So on the yes, you can see system administrator is there. I click on system administrator, right? So here you have a system administrator here. So in this profile, then you have to go for see here. So when you scroll down, you have login IP ranges. So either way you can go. You can click on new. Again, it will take you to this page now. Here you're going to enter the login IP ranges here. Start IP address and end IP address, then you're going to save it. Either way, you can go on network access, you can go this, or through profile also you can able to go. And then you can enter your detail here. Right? This is how we are going to enter your login access by that is going to use login IP range using profile. This is nothing but login. You're going to try to restrict access using a profile also. You can go to the profile page. Under this profile page also you have this option You can click on, you can go to a particular section and then you can restrict your login by entering your IP range. Either way you can do it, right? The next one is restricting login access by time. You even using a time, you can able to restrict the access. Again, what you do, you go to the quick find box, you can enter the profile, you're going to click on the profile. Under login hours, you're going to click and edit. Then set your days and hours when the user with the profile can log into the organization. To allow users to log in at any time, click clear all times. To prohibit users from using the system on a specific day, set the start and end time to the same value. So in case you want to tell the user, you want to restrict the user by time, only by from morning 8 till evening 6 o'clock, you want to allow the user to access, so that you can set your timing also here. How do we set your timing? You have to go to the quick find box. Under profile, again, you're going to enter profile there. You go to the profile page, and then you have login hours section. You go to the login hours section, click on edit, and then you're going to enter the details now. Right now, again, let me go back to the demo now. Let me go back to the demo. So in this now, again, I'll click on home. Now here I'll go for the profiles and I enter profile here. You get a profile. Now click on profile, right? And then you go to system administrator profile, click yes, and then you have system administrator, click on system administrator. So now you have to scroll down again. You have to scroll down. Like how we go for IP address range. Now see here, we have login hours. We have after the first section is going to be login hours. You click on edit. So now, so you have to enter this detail here. You can clear the time here, but now it is nothing is being given. So on Sunday, what is your login hours? Say for example, it is going to be between 8 o'clock, right? AM. So it's going to be 8 AM, and end time is going to be 12 PM. Whereas coming from Monday onwards, it is going to be between 8 AM and it's going to be between 3 PM. Right? The other days is also going to be between 8 AM and it's going to be between 3 PM. Right? Wednesday also is going to be between 8 AM and it's going to be between 3 PM. Sorry, 3 PM. Right? Thursday also is going to be from 8 AM and then going to be between 3 PM. Friday also is going to be from 8 AM and going to be between 3 PM. Saturday again is going to be a holiday, right? So Saturday again is going to be, suppose that is the case you're working on Saturday also, you can specify the timing here. The restricted timing is only from 8 PM to 3 PM. On weekdays it's going to be 8 AM to 3 PM. On Sunday it is only from 8 AM to 12 PM. Only this much. Then you're going to click on save. This is how you're going to restrict your hours also. This also can be done using your profile. This also can do with the help of a profile. Again, you go to quick find box. On the quick find box, go and type profile. Click on profile, take you to the profile page, and then you have to select the profile. Which profile? So say for example, some system administrator, you have to click on the yes pagination. Go there and click on system administrator. Scroll down. You have to go for login numbers. Click on new. You'll get this page. On this page, you're going to edit. You're going to enter all the timings, starting time, ending time, and then you're going to click on save. Right? This is how we are going to restrict our login access by using time. This is how we are going to restrict our login access using time. So again, I'll tell you, you have to go to a setup page. Under setup page, you're going to enter profiles. You're going to you'll get a profile link. You click on profile link. You'll get the profiles there. From there, you have to select the system administrator. For this, you have a page nation like it starts from A to Z. You have to click on yes and go there. When you click on yes, so all the profiles with record which starts with yes will be displayed. There you're going to select system administrator. Then you scroll down. So then you'll get a login hours. There you have to enter all the start time and end time, and then you're going to click on save. This is how you're going to restrict your login access by time. Got it? So guys, I think you understood about security, right? So system security. In this session, we have discussed elaborately about how to create an user and how to create a password policies, how to restrict your IP range by giving your IP range, right? You can set your IP range. So you can set your IP range using profile. You can set your business hours also. You can set your business hours or login hours right through the profile. All this thing. Then we have discussed about how to activate user and deactivate user. All those stuff we have discussed here. See the entire. Actually, I told you like securities are of two types. One is called system security, the other one is called application security. In this session, we have elaborately discussed about the system level security. If you have any doubts, you please contact or you can send a mail to info.iwaylab@gmail.com. So any queries, anything you can log into. That is, you can send an email to info.iwaylab@gmail.com. Please subscribe to my channel by clicking on subscribe button and click on your bell icon so that you will get the notification. In case you want to have 1:1 training, you want to have a batch training, you can contact me 8550799168 or 8142000037. Please be safe and then please try to learn this concept in a proper manner. If you have any doubts, you can reach me, right? I will keep you out. And simultaneously, you can do your trial head also, trial head model so that you can prepare for your certification exam. Please do subscribe. It is Rakesh Lab at TechnoHub channel for placement training. And in case you want to send a mail, you can send a mail to info.iwaylab@gmail.com. Please do subscribe. And my phone number is 8550799168. Please be safe. Stay tuned. Bye bye.